Oh, funeral preparations are tough, and my wife is so useless. What am I going to do? Really, it is tough, isn't it? What did she come here as a wife for? That day was my father-in-law's funeral. My husband and mother-in-law had not helped with any preparations and had left everything to me. However, as relatives began to gather, they slandered me, claiming all the work as their own achievement. Moreover, my husband's unbelievable actions continued even further. Hey, why are you trying to take out the condolence money? I couldn't help but reprimand him for his unreasonable behavior, to which he responded, "Shut up. It's none of your business. You're not family or anything, so don't butt in." What do you mean I'm not family? We are married. Tom and I got married 13 years ago. At that time, Tom, his parents, and our 3-year-old son were all kind to me. That's why I wanted to support him after marrying. However, after getting married, the four of us changed completely. Tom became extremely bossy. He decided on his own to live with his parents, who treated me like a maid and bullied me. Even my son, influenced by his father and grandparents, began to ridicule me. I endured such a life for 13 years. During my father-in-law's funeral, I was shocked by my husband's words and reached my limit. I did not attend the funeral and left a divorce paper, disappearing in front of them. The following day, there were as many as 203 missed calls from Tom. Listening to the messages in disbelief, I heard him panicking. "Hey, where are you now?" Then, I called my husband and began to fight back. "I am Hillary, a 40-year-old housewife, working part-time at a nearby supermarket. My husband, Tom, works for a travel agency, and he has a son, Ryan, from a previous marriage. I married him 13 years ago. At that time, I wanted to support him as he was raising his 3-year-old son alone. Before marriage, I worked at a travel agency. 14 years ago, a male employee joined the company through mid-career recruitment. I'll be under your care from today. I look forward to working with you all." That man would later become my husband, but at the time, he seemed like a very refreshing man. "Hillary, I heard from others that you are well versed in this job. Can you teach me?" Of course, I'd be happy to. When you change jobs, the way things are done changes too, and I imagine that can be confusing. However, Tom was proactive in asking questions and worked hard to learn the job. "Hillary, I'm free right now, so I'll take care of this task." "Really? Thank you. That's a big help." Tom approached his job with a serious attitude, so he learned quickly. As he became proficient, his work speed increased, and he was able to help me with my tasks, which made me feel reassured about his reliability. "Wow, Tom, you're raising a child on your own and working hard too? Isn't it tough?" "But I have to protect Ryan as a parent. I need to fulfill my responsibilities." "You're kind, but make sure not to overdo it, okay?" As he became accustomed to the work, we started having conversations beyond that, and I learned that he was a hard-working single father. Next holiday, I'm taking Ryan to the park. "Hillary, would you like to join us?" It'd give Ryan a taste of what having a mother might be like. "Are you sure I'm okay for that?" "Absolutely. I think you're the best for it. If you say so, I'm happy to join." While we couldn't date alone because of his child, we deepened our relationship by going out together on holidays and having meals at his home. The food Mom makes is delicious. Oh, but calling me Mom makes me blush. I'm not your mom yet. Why don't you become his mom? I think Ryan needs a mother. Are you serious? While the three of us had a good time, Tom's words might have come out in such a natural way. Although it was a surprise to me, I was genuinely happy since I hoped that was the case. With pleasure, if it's okay with you. Thus, I decided to marry him and become Ryan's mother. This was 1 year after Tom joined the company. And upon marriage, I quit the travel agency to focus on home life. My parents had already died in an accident, and I had an older brother. At that time, my brother had already started his own business and was living abroad, so I couldn't tell him in person and informed him over the phone. You've met a good person. That's great. You definitely must be happy. Yeah, thank you. My brother gladly gave his blessings, and I was happy. After reporting to my brother, it was time to inform my in-laws, which was nerve-wracking, but Tom was reassuring. Don't be so nervous. They'll definitely accept you since I chose you. That makes me feel more confident. We entered my in-laws' home, and I met them face to face. I'm Hillary. I married Tom. Nice to meet you. Hello, Hillary. It's a relief you married our son. I have been thinking it's tough raising a child with only a father. Thank you so much. I was happy because my in-laws accepted the marriage smoothly as Tom had said. I'm happy to be with Mom forever now. Ryan said that, smiling innocently. Thus, I ended up with kind in-laws, a husband, and a sweet son. Looking back, that might have been the happiest moment for me. I was certain that a happy married life awaited me. But what awaited me was an unexpected turn of events. My husband, who had previously been kind, suddenly changed. Hey, make sure you iron my shirts by tomorrow morning. Okay, I understand. Also, I'll be home by 7 p.m. tomorrow, so make sure that freshly made dinner is ready. He started to act like a lord of the house, giving orders more frequently. I thought, do men change after getting married? While I thought I could still endure this level of change, one day, my husband said something outrageous. Hey, I've just arranged for us to live with my parents. What? I wasn't informed about living together. Why should I need your permission? I'm the head of the family. Do you understand? I do, but suddenly, he had even decided that we would live with his parents. I was confused and returned his words, but his arrogant attitude left no room for rebuttal. Besides, Ryan is happy about living with his grandparents, so you can't disregard his feelings. When he mentioned our son, I couldn't argue back, and I reluctantly accepted living with my in-laws. But it wasn't just my husband who had changed. My in-laws were the same. Since Hillary is living with us, you can take it easy now. Yes, I'll do that. Hillary, I'm leaving the household chores to you. Yes, I understand. I thought I would be sharing household duties with my mother-in-law, but instead, all chores were assigned to me. As long as you live here, you must listen to us. If you defy us, we'll tell Tom. Whatever you say, Tom will always believe us, you know. Under this pressure, I struggled with the household duties. What's with this seasoning? Have you been serving this to Tom and Ryan all this time? But both of them have never complained about the taste before. They were just being considerate of you. You should realize that. Criticism of my household duties wasn't limited to cooking. What's with this way of folding clothes? And look, there's still dust here. Did you really clean? I did clean as best as I could. No matter what I did, it was never good enough, and I lived under constant criticism, being bullied as an incompetent wife for 13 years. During that time, my mother-in-law never helped with the chores even once. Saying I was treated like a maid would not be an exaggeration. Unable to endure such a life, I thought about divorce several times. However, what kept me from it was my son. I thought, I must fulfill my role as a parent until Ryan becomes an adult. That thought kept me from divorcing, despite the endurance. However, I was painfully aware of the bad influence my husband and in-laws' attitudes had on my son when an incident occurred. Why can't mom do anything right? What? Ryan, what's suddenly gotten into you? Grandpa and Grandma said so. It's really pathetic. You should be more responsible as a parent. Ryan, how can you say such things to your parent? I couldn't believe that my once sincere and adorable son could say such things. I was not only shocked by his change, but also I was already dealing with another issue at that time, which was the health of my father-in-law. In fact, a few years ago, my father-in-law became ill and needed care. Hey, I'm the head of the family, and mom is getting old. You know what to do about dad, right? Are you implying that? Exactly that. You take care of him. But I'm already busy with part-time work and household chores. Can't you help a little? However, Tom responded angrily. Shut up. Don't argue with me. I'm the one earning the money that keeps us living. I thought, that's a terrible thing to say. I thought it was useless to say anything more. My husband's attitude was the worst. With this background, I continued my life juggling part-time work, household chores, and caregiving alone. As a result, my body became worn out, and I lost even the energy and margin to think about divorcing. Then, my father-in-law fell ill again and passed away. Oh, funeral preparations are tough. Hey, Hillary, you take care of everything. Yes, as a daughter-in-law, it's only natural for you to do that. Understood. I had a feeling it would turn out this way, but sure enough, my husband and mother-in-law left all the funeral preparations to me. What was worse was what happened next. When the relatives who attended expressed their condolences for the sudden loss, they praised my husband and mother-in-law for managing the funeral, and the two acted as if they had handled all the arrangements. Well, it couldn't be helped, but I didn't think arranging a funeral would be so hard. Yes, it was a big help that Tom worked together with me. While some voices did commend me as a good daughter-in-law, the two slandered and mocked me. Oh, that one is no good. She's a useless wife who can't even handle this. She could at least be useful at a time like this. Hearing and seeing that, even the relatives were appalled. I thought, why have I tried so hard up to this point? Despite having devotedly served my husband and mother-in-law as they demanded, it was all unrewarded. I was truly disgusted with the situation. My husband's shocking behavior continued. Tom, what are you doing? What? Don't raise your voice. It's annoying. It's not just annoying. Why are you trying to take out the condolence money? I never thought he would do something so unreasonable. While I was stunned, I couldn't ignore such behavior, so I had to call him out. Shut up. It's none of your business, so stay out of it. You're not family, so don't interfere. What do you mean I'm not family? We're married. I couldn't believe what he said. I had been treated like a maid by my in-laws, but to think that my husband also saw me that way, despite being his wife, which means I am family, the fact that he didn't recognize that was shocking. So you say such things. I've had enough. At this point, continuing to endure seemed foolish, so I decided not to attend my father-in-law's funeral and returned home. I packed my bags, left a divorce paper, and went to a certain person's place. The following day, I checked my phone and thought, wow, what is this? I saw a history of missed calls from my husband. There were as many as 203. Not only had he left a history of calls, but also messages. As I listened, shocked, I heard, "Hey, Hillary, where the heck are you?" His voice sounded frantic and panicky. "The funeral is about to start. It's bad. Come back quickly." Despite his previous arrogance, it seemed he couldn't manage anything without me. Reluctantly, I called my husband, who seemed to have been waiting so eagerly. He picked up the phone promptly. "Finally, you decided to call. Hey, why didn't you attend the funeral?" "Why? You should ask yourself that. You're insolent for a wife. I won't forgive you for embarrassing me. Wasn't it fine without me? My brother attended in my place." Indeed, my brother had attended the funeral in my place. As I mentioned this, my husband became even more flustered. "That was the problem. You must have badmouthed us to your brother." "Not at all. I only spoke the truth." "I knew it. And your brother discussed it in front of the relatives. Thanks to that, both Mom and I were reproached by everyone." "That's your own doing. If the relatives had any sense, they would naturally be upset knowing what my husband and mother-in-law had done. I really can't understand why they don't see that." Not only had they caused a commotion at the funeral, but what added insult to injury was what happened after they returned. When we got back from the funeral, there was a divorce paper. "Are you serious about this?" "Yes, I'm serious. Of course," I answered clearly, showing my strong intention to divorce. "Don't joke. I will never allow a divorce. You just need to shut up and listen to me." Even after all this, he said such things. It felt like he was completely oblivious to the reasons for the divorce and truly beyond help. "I'm done being at the mercy of you and your mother. I won't be coming back." "What did you say?" "Make sure to fill out the divorce papers properly. Bye." I firmly told my husband this and hung up the phone. A week passed. There had been no contact from my husband, and I had been living peacefully when suddenly my mother-in-law called. "Hillary, what on earth is going on?" "Mother, what brings you to call all of a sudden?" "It's not all of a sudden? Why do we have to be kicked out of the house? Oh, is that what this is about? What do you mean by that? Her call was to find out why they had been kicked out of the house. But there was a reason I could stay calm. Because that house originally belonged to my parents. And now it's under my brother's name. What are you talking about? In fact, the house we had been living in was one my brother had lent to me. My husband and in-laws had misunderstood, thinking it was a house that I had inherited from my parents. That's why they thought they could live there, as if it was their own. This situation dates back to when my father-in-law died. When I informed my brother about the funeral, he was still abroad. But when I mentioned the funeral, he said he would come back and attend. We met for the first time in years before the funeral. Hillary, are you okay? You look so worn out. What happened? Well, actually, it had been years since I had seen my brother, but he was shocked at how different I looked. Concerned, he approached me, and I honestly explained everything that had happened. What a thing to say. I won't forgive anyone who hurts my dear sister. His expression was stern, and he clenched his fists, shaking with anger. Hillary, don't worry. I'll take care of it. Thank you. Thus, with my brother's support, I was able to firm up my decision to divorce my husband. Now, get back to the present. I was talking with my mother-in-law on the phone, and I decided to reveal a certain fact. I've decided to live near my brother from now on. What? As I said this, my mother-in-law sounded shocked. It seemed that Tom was nearby, and taking over from the silent mother-in-law, he spoke up. Hillary, don't say things like that. Let's start over. I'm reflecting on it all. What are you saying all of a sudden? It's absurd. I can't even consider getting back together with you. I'm serious. I'm your husband, after all. Can't you trust what your husband says? What made him think he could be trusted after all the trust-destroying actions he had taken? Moreover, the situation had changed since before, and I decided to tell him about it. Listen, Tom. Another reason it's impossible to get back together is that I'm not in the US right now. What? What do you mean? As I spoke coldly, Tom anxiously asked for clarification. Do you think my brother is permanently back in the US to live? Isn't that what it means when you say you're going to live near your brother? He had interpreted it that way, thinking according to his convenience without being told anything. I was really astonished at his way of thinking. I've changed my nationality and moved to Cancun. Huh? You moved to Cancun? Yes, that's right. My brother is in the US only temporarily. He didn't come back to live here permanently. No way. As I spoke, Tom sounded surprised and shocked. There was no longer any reason to continue the conversation with him. I decided to tell him one last thing. Right now, my brother is staying in the US to handle various procedures, so please ask him about anything else. After saying that, I ended the conversation and hung up. Later, I was able to hear from my brother about Tom. He did enough to deserve a divorce, yet he hesitated to sign the divorce papers. I wondered how stubborn he could be. Really? But in the end, did he sign the divorce papers? He wouldn't have signed them if it were just up to me to convince him. I had no choice but to involve a lawyer. The lawyer you hired was very competent, wasn't he? That makes me feel relieved. As I asked, my brother nodded and told me that everything had smoothly progressed, with the divorce papers signed. Then my brother sold our family home. When asked where the three of them ended up after losing their home, the response was like this. After I sold the family home, they had nowhere to live. Now, they're living in a rundown apartment, all three of them. Wow, that's tragic, but it's really just a case of reaping what they sowed. While it seemed tragic to hear about their situation, there was no room for sympathy. If they had remained as kind as they were before the marriage, things would not have ended this way. Ryan could have grown up properly too. It's too late to say such things now, but it's good that you had been recording videos on your smartphone and writing diaries. I really wished they would have reformed without my having to do such things. But maybe they would never have changed regardless. At least, that's what I think. After all, they have caused you so much suffering. What you did was hardly a punishment. True to my brother's words, I had been writing in a diary and secretly recording videos on my smartphone about the things my husband and in-laws did to me. When I submitted these as evidence to the lawyer, they were acknowledged as powerful evidence. As a result, I succeeded in obtaining compensation from my husband and mother-in-law. After that, peaceful days returned to me. I have started working again at a travel agency in Cancun, introduced by my brother. I endured a lot of hardships in the past, but from now on, I want to cherish myself more and lead a joyful and happy life.